In an earlier reading session of Psalm 107 with a family member of mine, verses 27 and 28 stood out to me. I don't want to take them too far out of context, but I figured I'd make a brief video of why it stuck out to me. Psalm 107, beginning in verse 27 and then ending in verse 28. They reel to and fro and stagger like a drunken man, and are at their wits' end. Then they cry out to the Lord in their trouble, and he brings them out of their distresses. Now, I don't want to take this too far out of context. That said, however, many times we see this throughout the Bible, that we seem to exhaust every earthly resource we can when we're faced with a problem. And then once we finally exhausted our earthly resources, that's when we, call out to God in prayer. And I've seen many examples of that, the last few years, and especially in myself this year. Constantly trying so hard to get off second shift. I hated that so much. And eventually I gave up because I tried everything I could think of and it didn't work. Except for quitting my job, but I was too scared to do that. And I was praying to God all the while, but eventually got to the point where I was doing just praying, and that's all it takes a lot of the times, is just praying. And there was a pastor, I believe he was a pastor, on a Christian radio channel that I happened to be listening one night with my uncle. He said something similar, that very often we tend to exhaust every earthly resource we can before turning to God. But what if it was our first instinct to turn to God, to pray? Just like with our salvation. And many times throughout the Bible we see examples of people relying on their own works to save them. We see it even today. A lot of, legalistic Christians or religions out there who think that salvation is earned, but it can't be earned because there's not enough good we can do, not enough bad we can abstain from doing. Our first instinct has to be to confess with our mouth that Jesus is Lord, and admit that God raised him from the dead, because there is no other name through which we might be saved. And this word might isn't, this word might doesn't mean probably. The Bible uses the word might to mean will, if this condition is met. The condition that you accept that you have no righteousness, that you are a sinner, but Christ died to take your punishment for your sin, and he rose from the dead as proof of your justification. If you accept and believe that and receive it in your heart, you will be saved. But that's not all. It also comes with, being able to make our requests known to God, to approach God's throne boldly, not demanding, but being confident in our prayer, knowing that he will answer it. Sometimes all it takes is going to the Lord in prayer, because God does deliver us from our struggles. And he watches out for us. All it takes is a prayer. And that's why it's important for prayer to be a first instinct, I think. But like I said, I didn't want to take this verse too far out of context, and I don't think I did. But it stood out to me, and I felt led to make this video. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. God bless you all.